All right, this week we are driving the newest redesign of the Silverado. This is the 2022 Chevy Silverado High Country. Let's get into it. And overall, this is a robust refresh for the Silverado, giving it the bold new looks and improved functionality overall, and its overhauled interior, which will definitely take some time to look at. But first, let's take a look at the different trims available on the 2022 Silverado. All right, so first off, you do have quite a few different trim levels offered. So no matter what kind of truck you're looking for, Chevy's got you covered here. Starting off with the work truck, which is the trim name. And obviously that's if you're looking for a work truck. Then you have the custom Trail Boss, the LT, the RST, the LT Trail Boss, the LTZ, the ZR2, and the High Country, which is what we have here. Obviously, all of those trims have different interior options, wheel options, size options, engine options. This video, we're focusing mainly on what we have here, the High Country. So let's start by taking a look at the exterior and what's been updated here. So the Silverado starts off with an already bold design, one that we have reviewed in the past and do have a video on a 2021 Silverado, but this new 2022 Silverado has been enhanced with elements that reinforce the truck's wide and confidence-inspiring stance. We have redesigned headlamps with the C-shaped daytime running lamps, LED fog lamps in the lower fascia. All really gives this truck a great looking front end. Along with that, all new grille, and this is the High Country grille that has wider gaps in it and has that High Country stamp in the chrome at the top. Really just a great look. And then again, that chrome piece on the lower fascia and those chrome tow hooks. For 2022, you do have all new wheel options ranging from 18s to 22s. These are the 22-inch wheels running Bridgestone all-season tires. Along the side, we have power folding mirrors, and they do power fold on lock, which is nice. We also have the power running boards, which will eject as you open the door for ease of getting in and getting out. You also get this fancy button on the back of those running boards that you can click with your foot, and that will make that running board pop even further back. So it's easier to use that running board as a way to get into the bed. Along the rear, you can see those LED tail lights. We have the Silverado badge, the High Country badge. You've got a funky looking tailgate, which we'll get to in just a second. You also have steps in the rear bumper that allow you to easily get into that bed. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the full dimensions of this truck really quick, and then we'll continue on. All right, and obviously we do have the crew cab here. All the dimensions of these trucks are gonna vary on exactly what configuration you get. This one is the crew cab with the short bed. The box length is 69.02 inches. Our total length of the truck is 232.9 inches. Your wheelbase is 147.5 inches. Your total height is 78.3 inches. And that box is 80.6 inches. All right, so this is what Chevy deems the multi-flex tailgate. You're presented with two buttons here. The first top button releases just this top part, so you can push it in and see you've got like a little desk-ish type of thing that you can work on or have your tools on, or it's just easier to stand and lean on. You've also got a button back here that will lift this part up, and this can extend the bed a bit. So if you've got something long that you need to put in there, this will still stop it from sliding out, obviously. But it also doubles as a step. So let's put this back up and hit that second button, and your tailgate drops like normal. You can still reach down and hit that top button to drop that. Hit this once again, and now you have a step to really let you get in easily. And I did utilize this during this week. I helped my sister move some stuff. So we loaded up the bed, and I utilized this step to make it easy to get in and out with heavy furniture. Closing it, super easy. So a lot of companies are doing a lot of different things with their tailgates these days. this is definitely a cool one. And as long as it stays sound mechanically throughout the life of the truck, it's definitely worth getting. I haven't really heard of any issues with them mechanically or electronically, but if you're worried about that, you can always just get a regular tailgate. And the bed itself has 2,270 pounds of max payload, which is plenty for most people. If you need more than that, you're looking at an HD truck. With that, let's go ahead and pop the hood and take a look at that engine. All right, so there are quite a few engine options when it comes to the Silverado. You have a 2.7 liter turbocharged high output with 310 horsepower, 430 foot-pounds of torque. That's actually an engine option I haven't driven the Silverado with, but I would like to. You can get the 5.3 liter Ecotec 3 V8 with 355 horsepower, 383 foot-pounds of torque. You can get the Duramax 3 liter V6 diesel engine with 277 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque. I haven't driven the Silverado with that engine, but I have driven a Tahoe with that engine. It's pretty solid. And then you have what's under the hood here, which is the 6.2 liter V8 engine. It's also the Ecotec 3 engine. It's only available on the ZR2, the Custom Trail Boss, the RST, the LT Trail Boss, the LTZ, and the High Country. It's matched up with the 10-speed automatic transmission. So it's a pretty stout engine and definitely gets this thing up and going. But with that, let's go ahead and jump inside. We'll take a look at the interior of this High Country, show you what's new there. Then we'll take it for a drive, talking about the road presence and how it drives. Then we'll wrap up the video with the price and some of my final thoughts there. Let's keep going. All right, guys, we are here inside the all-new Silverado High Country. Lots of great stuff to look at, including these really nice seats. We do have the jet black with night shift blue leather perforated seats. It's got this brown stitching on it. Really, really nice looking seats. I'm not really a fan of blue leather interior, but this looks really good. And then the wood grain that you have on a couple of your trim pieces, also really nice. Let me go ahead and pick you guys up and give you a tour around. All right, and the first thing you'll notice here is this all new 13.4 inch infotainment touchscreen display. And now this is running with Google built in, so a lot of your stuff is very Google centric. So you do have Google Assistant, the Play Store, Google Maps. We do have cameras here, a full 360 camera, including a front facing camera, reverse camera. We'll show you that in just a second. But it's a really nice system, super responsive, lots of different information. Obviously, with the whole Google setup, you do have Android Auto. So if you've got an Android phone, the Android Auto works seamlessly, especially with things that are already integrated like Maps. But just because it's Google and you have Android Auto doesn't mean you're skimped out if you're an iPhone person. We also do have Apple CarPlay here, which works seamlessly and just as you would expect from Apple CarPlay. And to interface with that, you do have two different ports here. You have the USB Type A port, USB Type C port. You can have both plugged in at the same time, but as you saw, it will only let you choose one at a time. You can't really go back and forth between them very easily. Below that screen is a row of toggles here. You do have your lane sensing, parking sensors, your auto shut off, a button to drop that tailgate, your hazard buttons, traction control off, and a button for your rear window. Moving down even further is all your AC and heat controls, including heated and cooled seats and a heated steering wheel. Over here is your trailering control, and next to that is your push button start. You do have a tray here that you could have a phone sitting in, which works out fine. If you have wireless charging, that's not where you wirelessly charge. You've actually got a little pocket back here by the console that you could slip a phone into and it will start wirelessly charging. Obviously, we already have this plugged in, but that is a wireless charger and works out just fine. Over here is also a new addition for the Silverado. It is an electronic gear shifter all the way back for drive. Pushing the button all the way forward is reverse. And again, you got a backup camera. Push the button here for park. And if you excuse the mess, we do have cup holders, a nice little tray right here. I found this also a nice place to kind of rest a phone. So plenty of different areas for stuff like that. Another little coin tray or something right here. And then back on the armrest, which is that same blue with brown stitching and perforated leather, really nice. You have another little tray, perfect to rest a phone in. It's got this grippy material so it doesn't slide around too much. And then you can pop open that console. You can get a little bit better view of the wireless charger here. We've got this little tray for the top. You can move that and you can see all the way down in there. We also have another USB Type A and USB Type C charging port, as well as a plug. And to the back of that console is another 2 cup holders for the rear seats. Rear seats also have their own AC vents, as well as heated seats and charging ports. We also do have the Bose premium surround system with 7 speakers and a rich bass woofer. Next up, let's talk about this steering wheel here. First off, it is leather wrapped. It's a nice material, nice and chunky. You do have all your buttons here on there to do different functions, as well as buttons behind the steering wheel back here for like volume and track changing, as well as paddle shifters for gear changes. You can also see this bar up here. This is for Chevy's Super Cruise function, which is all new in this 2022 Silverado and is, I'm pretty sure, only available on the High Country. This little thing here is a sensor that reads the driver. So this is how they can make sure that you're still paying attention even though you have the Super Cruise on. We'll obviously get to that as we take this thing out on the road. But first, let's talk about that fully digital display back here. This is an all new 12.3-inch driver information center. I think it looks really good, especially that tack over here. The different colors chosen looks really good, nice and premium looking. And obviously you can thumb through some different features here for you, as well as different information available. We also do have a large head-up display. It is multicolor, very easy to see in the daytime, very adjustable so you can set it to the right height for you. And again, you can flip through different information to show there, including your Super Cruise functions. And over here beside the steering wheel is where you can see the toggle to change the height of that head-up display, the info seen in there, and the brightness. We also have our 4-wheel drive modes here. So we can have an auto, 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, or 4-wheel low. You got a trailering mode, a little toggle here for normal driving, sport driving, or off-road driving. Your electronic parking brake is here, and of course all your lighting features there. But that's enough poking around the interior. I'm sure we missed a few things. You can leave some comments down below and I'll try to answer those if I miss something. Let's get this thing out on the road. All right, and driving here is super comfortable. First off, this High Country with these nice leather seats, all power adjustable, power adjusting steering wheel, heated and cooled seats. You're gonna be able to do a long trip in comfort. I know, because we did a pretty long trip in this thing. Like I said, I helped my sister move some furniture and stuff. So we had to drive an hour to her old house and then another like hour to her new house. And then it's a 2-hour trek back to my house. So me and the family spent a lot of time in this thing, and the back seats are super comfortable. Lots of room back there, no matter if you're a kid or adult. Up here in the front, super comfortable. AC blows really good. It was super hot that day, hitting up to like 108. Lots of room for stuff. Obviously the bed, it's a truck, you're going to utilize it. The infotainment system worked flawlessly, had Apple CarPlay running, had maps going, all worked out just fine. One criticism I've had of Chevys in the past was the suspension. Very bumpy, especially if you don't have a load in the truck. I did notice some of that a little bit on certain roads that were pretty rough, but for the most part, it just drove super smooth. Power from the 6.2 V8 under the hood, just fine for this thing, getting up on a highway, even with a little bit of weight in it. no issues. If you need to pass somebody, no issues. So all your basic day-to-day living with the truck is done flawlessly in this thing. Again, this is the High Country. It's the most expensive Chevy Silverado that you can get, so it should do the job. We'll talk more about the price here in a bit. You might have seen as we were thumbing through some of the menus on the driver information screen, we've been averaging about 16.8 miles to the gallon for the full week that we've had it. And again, that's a lot of highway miles doing the road trip. That's also a lot of in the city driving, just doing day-to-day normal family stuff. So that's a decent representation of what you might be getting with this engine and this setup here. You also have good towing capacity. 13,300 is the max towing for the Silverado. I'm not exactly sure what configuration that's in, what engine and everything, but for most things that you'd want to tow around, this should do the job. If you're towing something super heavy, you're looking at a heavy duty truck anyways. So let's talk about that Super Cruise function. Now, we drove the new Escalade that had the same Super Cruise function not too long ago, and I felt with that vehicle it was a bit buggy. It was very hard to trust, especially when I had the family loaded down in it. But the entire time I had that thing, it was also super windy, so it was constantly being pushed in the lane from wind. This one, we didn't have any wind issues, but we definitely got it up on the highway, doing a lot of hours out on the highway. Had the Super Cruise turned on and it worked really well, especially if you don't have a ton of traffic and you're just cruising. It keeps you in the lanes really well. It senses cars in front of you. It has a feature that will automatically switch lanes for you. I turned that off. I did not like that on the Escalade that we drove, so I turned it off before I even started using Super Cruise. Luckily, it is a feature you can turn off, but the whole system definitely works really well in this truck. Now, you can't use it on every road. It does sense the lanes, but it doesn't quite drive using those lanes, so Chevy has to actually map out all the roads. And they have over 200,000 miles of roads mapped out. So basically any major highway, even some of the not major highways that we took through Texas that I didn't expect it to work on, it actually did work on. But if you got a big country road, even if it's got lanes on it and everything, it's probably not going to be mapped in their system. And with all of that, everything that you want to see as a driver is displayed on the head-up display. I know some people don't like head-up displays. I love them. I like being able to just see out to the road and see my speed. It shows you the speed of the road you're on. Sometimes not quite accurate, but it's okay. You've got your cruise control settings, your Super Cruise settings all right there. So it's a really useful and helpful display. But with that, obviously, we probably didn't cover everything here. There's just a lot that this truck does. Hopefully I was able to talk about something that you were interested in. If not, please leave it down in the comments and I'll try to answer your questions after the fact. But let's go ahead and find a place to pull back over and we'll talk about the price, and then we'll wrap it up talking about some competition and my final thoughts. Let's go. All right, and with all of that, let's talk about the price really quickly before we wrap this thing up. The very base work truck trim has a base price of $33,800. Obviously, that's not going to be the crew cab that we have here. That's not going to be the leather seats. You're not going to get all the fancy dials and controls and everything. That's the very base that you can get. If you're looking at the High Country, the base is $59,000. This one, spec'd out the way that it is around $70,000. So it's an expensive truck, but you are getting a lot. With that, let's jump out. We'll talk a little bit about the competition and I'll give you some of my final thoughts and we'll wrap this video up. All right, guys, and at the end of the week with the Silverado, I leave really enjoying it. Could definitely recommend it to anyone. The new interior is great. The new redesign is very nice. Traditionally, you could call me a fanboy. I grew up around F-150s. My grandfather had an F-150. My dad still has an F-150. I really like the Ford trucks. I also really like the Ram trucks. I think they're great. Every time I get one, I'm really happy with it. and these new Silverados, the last couple of years of them, I've really enjoyed. So I'm not a big brand war kind of guy. I think no matter what manufacturer you're jumping into, whoever you're loyal to, you're getting a great truck these days. And I'm not even a domestic fanboy. I really like the non-domestic trucks as well. The Nissan Titan is great. The Toyota Tundra is great. So it's a win-win for everyone. Again, I really enjoyed my week with this thing. I probably wouldn't go for the High Country, but that has nothing to do with the Silverado or Chevy itself. It's a little bit pricey for me, but I'm also not out shopping for a King Ranch or Platinum F-150. So I definitely like to take a look at some of the other trims in this thing. I know some people that have the Trail Boss that absolutely love them. But with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the redesigned Silverado, especially this High Country. If you're into car reviews, please subscribe to the channel. We do a different review every week. You can also check out TXGARAGE.com for more written reviews, as well as event and news coverage over there from a lot of different authors. They're doing great work at TXGARAGE.com. With that, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.